So for a lot of people out there, they just can't poop unless they're using magnesium. And a lot of people feel like, oh, well, magnesium fixes constipation. That's kind of what it is. It's a constipation fixer. And that's not really what's going on. But in this video, I'm going to help you understand why magnesium can help a person poop, but why it can also cause trouble. Some people have to use so much just to get it to go, and then it creates a lot of trouble. So we're going to kind of talk about what's really creating the constipation and steps you can take to correct that so you don't need so much magnesium. Let's jump in.
T.C. Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So it was over on our Who Should Not Supplement with Potassium video where Cheryl asked, hey, I use magnesium to relieve constipation and I'm really getting tired of having the runs. I'm desperately trying to find an alternative to relieve this habit. I end up getting nasty pains in my stomach, which is trapped gas. Any suggestions for me? Yeah, Cheryl, this is the kind of thing that we hear about from people on a daily basis, and we've really helped thousands of people improve constipation. I have a book, Constipation, Kick It Naturally, and what's important to understand is that you need to look at your physiology and your bioindividuality to understand what's creating this constipation for you, because it's going to be different from person to person. And I'll put a link to that constipation book in the description below this video where you can get the whole thing totally for free. So if you need to end up digging into this a little bit deeper and understand more of these things, you can do that for free. But before we can understand what magnesium is doing, we need to understand the most common causes for chronic constipation issues. And it was Dr. Emanuel Revici who helped us understand that the body has this natural circadian rhythm at the cellular level. So during the day, we should be in a catabolic state where the body is very good at creating energy and kind of keeping us going all day. And then at night, the body should move into this anabolic state where the body is very good at sleeping and resting, but also rebuilding and repairing. So both of those states are appropriate. We need both of those things happening for the body to function correctly. The problem is some people can get really stuck in one of those states most of the time, or maybe they're just shoved way too far into one of those states. And if that's the case, either state can create a lot of health issues. So if someone is stuck in this anabolic nighttime state most of the time, which is very common, a problem that can occur is that it causes the body to send too much water to the kidneys and not enough to the bowels. And then the bowels get hard and dry, and that stool gets very difficult to move, and man, I haven't pooped since last month. So this is really common to see. So a person might hear, oh, I got to drink more water. People say to drink more water, and they'll drink more water, and then they'll get up to pee 12 times in a night. It's like they're doing their cardio in the middle of the night, just running back and forth to the bathroom all night. So it's really about helping the body send that water to the right place. So an interesting thing about magnesium is that it's a very pro-catabolic mineral. So it pushes a person towards that catabolic state. So if a person is having constipation because they're stuck in this anabolic state and the body's sending the water to the wrong place, if they take enough magnesium, it can correct that imbalance, help the body send more water to the bowels, and now they're pooping like a champion. Magnesium did it. Magnesium is the constipation fixer. Well, that's not really what's happening. It's just helping you move more water to the bowels. Now, here's where it gets a little bit troublesome for some people. There are other causes for constipation. This anabolic imbalance that we're talking about is not the only cause. A lack of stomach acid is a very common cause. So when we eat food, our bodies should make hydrochloric acid in the stomach, or HCl. And this is meant to help us acidify that food so that we can break that food down and get all the nutrients out of that food. That's why we eat food. But it's very common today, for a wide variety of reasons, for someone not to be making enough stomach acid. Millions of people turn off their stomach acid on a daily basis on purpose. So there's a lot of people out there not making enough stomach acid, and a lot of people aren't making stomach acid even though they're not taking a medication. There's things that can malfunction and that can't allow the body to make stomach acid the way that it's supposed to. So this is problematic because that bolus of food, as it leaves the stomach, moves through our intestinal tract as we digest everything. It moves at a pace according to its acidity level. So if we don't really have enough stomach acid to truly acidify that food and break it down, it has to break down by process of rotting and fermenting. And that rotting and fermenting can create a lot more gases, like Cheryl was talking about. I'm having all these pains from all this trapped gas, she says. A lot of times these gases come from foods rotting and fermenting and not being broken down correctly. And when that food is not as acidic, it will move through that intestinal tract at a slower pace. And that slower pace can cause the stool to get more dry and hard and difficult to move. So you can see this is another way that stool could get hard and difficult to move for a totally different reason. So in this lack of stomach acid scenario, this person is having constipation because they don't have enough stomach acid. That stool is leaning too alkaline and moving too slow. So they'll take magnesium. Oh, magnesium is the constipation fixer. Everybody says so. Oh, my doctor told me to take it. Oh, all these health professionals say to take magnesium for constipation. I'm going to take that. And then it doesn't really work for them. So they're like, well, they said to just take more. So I'm going to take more. And they take more until it sends so much water to the bowels that it finally loosens up. Hey, I pooped. Yay. But it came out like explosive diarrhea and lifted me off the toilet like a rocket. So that's probably not what you're really looking for. And that's why Cheryl was saying, hey, I'm really tired of these runs. I really don't love that. What is the alternative? Because some people have to use so much magnesium that it creates too much water to the bowels and creates a loose stool. So they'll have either diarrhea or constipation. So I just can't have a great bowel movement. I can have it too loose, or I can scream in agony because I haven't pooped in a week and a half. What's the deal? So that's why this problem happens. So in this scenario, magnesium is not really the solution. It's a way to get more water to the bowels, but it's not correcting the actual underlying cause of the problem. If the actual cause is an anabolic imbalance, magnesium really can help correct that imbalance. So that can be beneficial in that scenario. But if the cause is something else, you're only going to be able to create diarrhea and then just have to wait until you get constipated to create some more diarrhea. So to make the situation worse, if the constipation is being caused by a lack of stomach acid, and a lot of people are dealing with more than one underlying cause at a time. They might be dealing with an anabolic imbalance, a lack of stomach acid, and then there's this other thing that can happen too, where when there isn't enough stomach acid to really acidify our food so we can break it down and get the nutrients out of our food, that stomach acid doesn't just do that, it's also the barrier to the whole digestive tract. So varmints come in on the food that we're eating, and they're supposed to die in an acid bath in that stomach. That HCl should fry them. But if someone's not making enough stomach acid, the little bacteria or fungal or yeast kind of varmint guys come in and they're like, oh, this is nice. Let's set up camp here. And then they multiply, and then you have this overgrowth of microorganisms creating all kinds of trouble. And a lot of the waste product that they put out can be alkaline. So this can further alkalize the stomach, reducing your ability to really acidify your food and get all the nutrients out of that food, making that stool even more alkaline. And then these varmints move down in the small intestine, and we get this small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, like all the cool kids have today. Everybody has SIBO, right? So all these guys go down the small intestine, and then their waste makes that even more alkaline and slows the stool down even more. So now there's even more gases coming from all the waste from all these microorganisms, and now this is expanding, and then Cheryl's really miserable. And, I don't know if this is what's going on with Cheryl. I'm not giving Cheryl advice because I don't know her circumstance. But this is something that we see pretty commonly. So we see it very common to see someone not making enough stomach acid and having a bacterial overgrowth, and both of those things are really working against them trying to have a bowel movement. I just, like all my friends poop, I just want to poop. Why won't it come out? So there's a lot of things working against them, and they just can't make it happen. So it's really about looking at your body and your unique bioindividuality to understand what's creating the problem for you, and then you know what steps to take to correct it. So that book in the description that I told you how to get for free kind of walks you through running simple self-tests at home that you can do, picking up tools you pick up at like a pharmacy or a health food store. And you can get an idea. Am I leaning too far on that anabolic side? And if I am, what steps are going to help me correct that issue so that my body isn't sending all of my water to to the kidneys and not enough to the bowels. So with clients, I like to look to figure out what are the things that are creating the trouble for them. If they don't have enough stomach acid, we like to supplement with betaine HCl to help acidify the food in the stomach. I might also use vitamin C as ascorbic acid, and I might even do that away from food because it's basically just this ascorbic acid that can help acidify that intestinal tract a little bit and just help things move through, maybe make the environment less hospitable for all these bacteria. But if there's a bacterial overgrowth, I'll also take steps to wipe out that bacteria. We'll put a link in the description below this video for our video on how to wipe out bad bacteria in the stomach. And there's steps like D-limonene and celery juice, and people use mastic gum. And there's lots of steps that people can take to get rid of some type of overgrowth in the intestinal tract. But that can be very important. And then we also like to make sure that a person's bile is flowing correctly. Bile gets stored in the gallbladder. It's made by the liver, and then it comes down and helps us neutralize the acids from the stomach. It helps us emulsify our dietary fats. And a lot of people feel like bile is this soapy substance, so it almost works like a lubricant to kind of help the bowel move through. But a lot of people will tell you to supplement with ox bile to fix constipation, and it's just wrong. It's just making that intestinal tract more alkaline. So we don't like to do that step, but we like to make sure that a person's natural bile is thin enough to flow correctly. It's very common for that to become too thick and sticky to flow correctly, and that can create some trouble as well. So there's a lot of steps that a person can take, but they're not going to be the same for everybody. I can't just tell you what steps to take right now. You need to look at your body. You need to look at the person instead of the symptom that the person is dealing with, because every symptom out there can have 3 or 4 different possible underlying causes. So if we're just looking at remedies like magnesium, then it's going to work great for some people and it's not going to work for others, and then others it's going to make them completely worse. So we don't want to make people worse. It's really about looking at the person and then taking steps that are appropriate for that person. So I hope this helps, and if you want to dig into this a little bit more, you can jump over right now and check out our video on 5 common causes for constipation, so you can understand all the common causes that can create this problem, so you understand what you can figure out you need to address. I can't wait to hear about your results.